Good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele, and this is the Breakfast Club. We bring you this program daily, Monday to Friday, and you can get in touch with us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, at site ZW. You can also follow me on Twitter at Zenzele. I'm also on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm on WhatsApp. Today we are talking about violence in Zimbabwe and the culture of violence. And I say the culture of violence because if you look at the history of Zimbabwe from colonial times, we've always had episodes of violence. And unfortunately, there has never been a time when, as a nation, we've had a discussion about how do we solve violence? How do we have peace and reconciliation? And for decades, we've had people that are very angry about what happened during pre-colonial times, about what happened during the colonial times, what happened during the war, what happened during the Kukuraundi, the 2000s, 2018, up to now. Families, communities, political parties have always been on each other's throats. And I realize that we have generations of people who have gone through torture, who are angry, who lost their relatives. And in communities, especially when you look at Kukuraundi, the liberation struggle, there are some people who be looking at each other and say, Loana watengi subabami, Loana watengi sumalumami. And we've never had that opportunity to talk about these issues. I know we've had the National Peace and Reconciliation Commission, whose main aim, let me say, was to deal with the issues of reconciliation, and little has been done. And recently, earlier this month or last month, we're celebrating, commemorating the International Day Against Torture Victims, where we brought in a number of people to come and talk about their personal experiences when it comes to torture, inhumane treatment, and it stretches back to the liberation struggle. 1980, there was an amnesty, and all those who had done something to each other were given an amnesty. And then in 1987, after the Kukuraundi, also there was an amnesty. And the problem is that it's always those in power who give amnesty to each other, to the armies, but the communities are still hurting. And if we don't address the issues of violence in Zimbabwe, this culture is going to go on. Trauma can be transferred from one generation to the other. So we have young people who are very angry, who might not have witnessed Kukuraundi, who might not have witnessed the liberation struggle, but know what happened and hear what happened. And that trauma is transferred. They become more radical than their parents, than their forefathers. So I'm not surprised that in Zimbabwe we have groups like MRP who are calling for secession, who are calling for a number of things, who are saying we're not being treated fairly, we are being marginalized, because they feel like their grievances, the grievances of their fathers, the grievances of their mothers, the grievances of their grandparents are not taken into consideration. And the unfortunate part is that from 1980 up to now, we have had one government which has been involved in violence in different stages, be it Kukuraundi, be it 2008, be it 2018, and they've always protected each other. So if we don't deal with violence, with reconciliation, last week we have had these programs where people saying the spirit of the dead are saying they want to be reburied. There's so much that is going on in Zimbabwe. There's so much that has not been resolved. Economic prosperity would mean nothing in Zimbabwe if our people still boggle the anger. People are angry. If you want to see that people are angry, go and watch a Dynamo's Highlanders match. It becomes tribal. Go and see what's happening on Twitter, on Facebook, on WhatsApp. We are always at each other's throats, insulting each other because I'm Shona, I'm Ndebele, you are Ndebele, I'm Kalanga. And it is because over years, anger has been building on, and there is no outlet to talk about these things, to vent out. And this program today, which is going to be part of the many series that we are going to be talking about, looking at peace building in Zimbabwe, looking at the issue of transitional justice. We are talking to victims of torture, or we are listening to the stories of the victims of torture, telling about their experiences and how they've been bottling up all this anger over the years. This is a tola testimonies I to our post-independence. Ngesikhathi sekukhula
mina ngishadile phela kogogo mina ngabeka ngo-1977 umunye wangitrainer nami so uthi njengoba sizile khuluma ngamasiko sokunzima ukuthi wantrainana ngubulukhetha selimele thina sithi ukhetha sozakwanisa ngiyamesaba la kanti sikhetha ukhetha waba le coincidence kanti umbongo kwabhiso sozoxawuxa ukhetha wazichala enyaweni ukhetha wasenizichayile madoda nazithi sechayi impala enye yayichayiwe kwasala amathubu anti impala mayichaya phumuluzo kwasala kusilapha abaleki impala ukhetha wadlandela wasezichaya ukhetha sekizichayile madoda test yakho ngathi sigijima sisiyela dinyama kapto ngeze sakhetha pizza to wala bahamba 12 hours ukhetha icathu inyalo esicathu yamesa ukhetha ngasithi awuyoronja kuqume futhi bilahle but mina ngasensiya ngena kuma operations ematheni ngangena assembly point mic saphuma nge-first demo ngene kama 200 tayi kwasa kuyenye futhi sideni isuka lapha ekhaya mina ngangiyidoja ngifika ngihlala ngasensiyahlala ekhaya ngasuka ngikhaya futhi ngathi kuyindawo entombi sithe mhla ka 20 September 1982 ngazuzile emakhaya ngizuzile emakhaya wasemsithi mhla ka 25 sesithi kalela ndithu ilokuzi impahla zami lapha endojeko yani umngane wami sesithi kwakhona kule klinika khona ule crash khona entumba lapha bozothela lapha office housing office ndoda sithi utwa ngoro mara silungisa imoto yami sithi siyothathela impahla nansi amasotsha abuya e21 seligonjolozeni lokuthiwa ngikhetha ukuthi mina ngi-excobate angikwazi bakhe bafika bambhubha ngapha ile creational yakhe I think it was about level of sabuthwa sagcwaliswa ngabona safika over 1000 wonke kuphela kudinga amazinga sasuka lapho stop sikhem xa sukhala ugodo stop sikhem I think abanye bafa futhi stop sikhem baba sasusa lapho ngabona khona ubunzima nxa usungena eCholotsho kaloku bale Cholotsho 1 km le ndawo kuthiwa kusechithamuzi lapha kombudlala safika sahlala khona bathatha ibarbed wire yayifakwa so idonse yagombolozela inkamba sachiwa kulomnyango okuhlala khona amasotsha then nxa ugijima wawugijimisa ubhodi ngale nxa siyangale kwakugedi inganto ngathi sime yakhe so nxa ulisuthoshwa wawufika umuntu ubesigqoko ukhangele phansi laphana uzakuchama uswazi lomqathu ikhanda lo abangu2 be-interview kulonkazana oqashemliyo lapha nomuntu umkhangele ngaphambili uchawe straight la ukhangele ukuthi into yakho ayisukumi nxa ukhangele umfazi wakho umpalo wesona wayesenjini ukuthi ngujimo wathi mdala wakho kulofiwa ukuthi ngujimo mdala wakho kulofiwa kuthiwa ubelesibili angithi yamafika ngathi mama behleli so mina ngimkhangele zamthi njengoba la bivele embulawo yazi sachawa laphana sesichayiwe saza kule nto manyenza lapha eCholotsho kwakunzima kwakhona yilo kwakulabanye abantu ababeCholotsho ukuthi kusokosodaka yangithi wabuya umfana ovela kosodaka kuyikuthi usethotshe okuzwayo ngokuyoza lezi zingazo eziningi zoyoza nxa befika sobeyilayinisile bafika bathi umusitshele umuntu oli distant angithi umfana lo tebesihamba so banyathela unyawo so athathi uyu wena vele athathi nawo wesi kwakulabantu abaningi babevele egoli ngalo bona kwakuthiwa kudingwa abantu Oliver wamkhona khona uOliver khona kodwa kungayisiyo Oliver lo wayekotshiwe wayezibotshele evele egoli uOliver bamdinga ngokukhona uOliver wayesenamfundo wayengumncane ndoda so bengamkhobele so ngeke sibamdinga sasuka lapho kwasekusiba nemhlandla mbijana wasekusini izulu elikhulu kakhulu uthe kunizulu indaba le eCholotsho lana ngathi sort of Kalahari sand but ibisisiba lodaka so amatende lamasotsha wasengena udaka kakhulu uthe ungena udaka wathatha ingubo sasithala sinqumo ngathi sasithala sigqoke igqozo lesigqokile wathatha kulokuza udala wasolungena ezindlini laphana bathatha ingubo zabantu zonjalo bazifaka phansi balayitha umuntu phezulu kwengubo ingoma zozasha kwaza kuya amasotsha njengoba ngihlala eDumbane yazi sabuya ngibhokona iForest Road ngabona nje ngivele ngihlala laphana sakanje usenkaya enkayi la abantu badabenza isifunda enkayi savoyela isitilo kuze lapha kula masosha khona ngithi kwaza kuye ibhatalo kuthiwa yi-33 abantu kwakulabantu kuthiwa kwakule special branch le-ZIC lokunye njengama-intelligence khona kokugqekwalwa maseko so enkayi abantu babebulawa so babengabhaliswa abantu nanti ibotshiwe so bafike bathi 1 2 20 sabe setheza inkuni angithi bengafika abantu bafika bakubulale bonke abantu abangibulala baphinde bathatha abanye abantu ekhaya bazobe benjani bengu-20 kanti befaka ukubona inamba kuphela fike kubona inamba abantu bakwale but abantu abana bengale but mina ngangenze kwenye into imali ingari ungani ngiyasenzisa ngasesithi ngakhutshwa ngahanje esibhedlela so esibhedlela nxa usesibhedlela abantu uyathatha umuntu uhulumende ngayo amanesi akunika ikhadi bezethi imithi ephumileyo babe accountable ngasendico umama bona khona uhlala endumba kuthiwa umasipala uhambe endaweni enjeni ubatshela ukuthi ngiyaphila kodwa ngiyaphila umasipala vela uhamba wabatshela ukuthi hayi uduke ngimbono kodwa uyaphila lapho the same day after 2 days kwathiwa bhala incwadi libatshela abazali bendini abafundi so laphana babefuna ukuthi uzabathengisa yini sasibhala sonke sabhalayo hayi silapha sile hayi sihlale kuhle sile hayi sisemasosha abasigcine kuhle kodwa yathi izozo ngofanele kunyura nje sahlala sithe sihle laphana kwakunokuthotshwa okunzima okwenzakalayo uyabona izipuni lezi ezingane zilomqolo phala lapha nakithi so mama bafika bakutshela isipuni lapha fakela umuntu agcobe kanti abanye ayigcoba lapha so kuthina siyaqhuma uyabona mama lokugige kanti izandla ziyaqhumeka uzuma ekhaya uzesithi umpopho ukhona sibili ukhona nobhengu umntana wakho ngabe usemtari kulisotsha umuntu lo amba elanda kwale mtari kuthiwa lisotsha umpopho ungabusela ubhengu umfana watshona gebhi imini yokungela lutho then thina ukuchaya kwethu kwakuthathwa amasotsha angu-2 ugcwele imisedla laphana enkaya yayihluma thatha izigodo lala phansi iposition vele abakuchaya abakubuza koneni bathi tawura utawureni tawura yazi nxa bechaka 1 so bechaka anti bangu-2 ibiza i-order ake ulichayeka lomnyama uyanikwa abantu abangu-4 xa unikwa abangu-4 ngabe sithi wonke 1 uthi 1 yena uthi 1 mina ngachawa kanye ngahle ngazifisa wathiwa ililo labangufa bangikhahlele ekhanda ngasuma wathiwa hamba so into engihluphayo khathesi nge-trauma ukuthi nxa ngilele soyidinile ngoba ngilele ngikhaba kwesikhathi unkosikazi wangaphosa abalele uyavuka ngiyilo esibili yile nto ezizanele ingazibona kwaphaya then omunye umuntu wandamlela wona ngumfelo akwazi kodwa okulobaba mina ngase ngimchamele district 2 kulo kuthiwa ngumashireni uzimashireni mashireni bese kusithi angibathi kwenzakalani mashireni abesembo ahambelane lamesitosini ngifike ngihlala besithi wazibani la sesithi angazi ufele lo msabo ngababona kumba abathini kodwa ucela zanga nje umboni kodwa ucela ngambona isitchazi lami ngahle ngakhutshwa ngathi usho ucela kanjani yongidi but iposition engayibonayo madoda sibili eveliza sihlupha thina bona basesikupa phezulu kwentwana sithe siphuma ngale natureology salanda umdalo ngo kwathi umsiki into yabona kwayikhuluma enampungu sithe sihlangana salanda inkomo rangu-6 sathi inkomo abantu bayasadala unkomo wathi madoda nginikwe umgaba abantu abangu-26 abangigcinileyo and kangenza imhlalo ongabatshelanga angithi ngakayikho ikombosi kankomo ukuthi abantu behayi babanga unkongo wapana ukuthi ngikhuluma nani khonapha umgabe within 45 imisebenzi sekwazi vele ngakhumbula ukuthi umgabe umsika wathi yena umntanakhe abantu abakasokudla kwendla bakithi wabakhupha abafundi bonke labo ngumselo abantu obaya owesindebele lokhulu ihlambeni kunjena amafiki wesisimba lamakhilusa labana bahle bathi wona abantu abakudla kwendla umsika wabuqinisa lokho ngokwenza so umsika umntanakhe uthe udokotela yalandana kithi umsika ngu-MP wengakwe lapha ePhelanda wanika imali ukuthi kwakhe iklinika wahamba kwakhe iklinika ngibemazulu so engikutshelwe ukuthi madoda kumele sikunaze kwathi vele sihamba ngithi ungakhangela ivini hayi ngikutshengisa mina into engazibonayo ukuthi ayimgawu lokho kwenzakalayo badikhiwe bazakusale ngo-3 amaZezulu namakaranga namanyika and umgabe from Zezulu president ama-commanders agcwale emasiko tungamira yangithi imali yabanja imanyikale lokhombomoyana simba aphuma ngunja biloko byakulidozoresana izimabhenki abanja olokuzonakila bonke labana imanyikale thina vela zange sibalwe kodwa thina yebo abantu esibabalayo phakathi ungakukhangela khonapha sosinje khona sisemaphathini amaningi abantu esibaningi emaphathini akhona sikhokhele bona abantu ababelana and ongasoze akwenzile ukuthi abantu abethu sibachiya ngaphi asikwazi mina sibili i-trauma tantwelisi nge-trauma ngakenzale bona abantu bezikhanti abezengazi kumbe ngakipheli kodwa kungcono kwasengiyisalo wasekhaya lo asilamba zozambale qala silumba bengabale ngoba bemvuye ebusuku incane ezimhlini ngibona into engayenziwa yizami elokhe lakhathe esibili ngokuthi kanti le into enjina yenziwa nje uyazi ukuthi thina sasikwazi ukuthi umuntu kuthiwa ngumthakathi kuthiwa ngumuntu omubi uyakwathi umuntu onqunu umuntu bazombona emuhle ngamba kodwa ngakhulu igqoke abe nqunu so mubi benyanyeni but nxa usukhangelisa umbhazi ongasuka pho kuyini ngono into embi kangakani into engayenziwa yizami ngiyacela ukuthi bafowethu ake sizikhangelele ukuthi namile kade senzani siyangaphi sizichiya ngaphi umuntu wayekhomanda ibrigade lapha ngichiwenga angithi then enkayi kulo DA uthiwa ngumaphosa umdenda board member udayika iqingo wayekhomanda iphara kuthe one day sabona udayiki ubuya ngehelicopter endowe lesilungu khona ngoba wabuya helicopter ilokuyinje okuncane wafika wakumisa lapha wakumisa ihelicopter lapha uchiwenga wabuya wabuchiwenga lo dayiki hayi uchiwenga lo mdenda lo maphosa umaphosa waye sort of DA yenkayi owenza saphuma ngumaphosa umaphosa kanti abantu vele sibanikela lokudla lapha bamchaya bamqamulisana amaphosa bathe bemchaya baqamulisana safika samisa ehlisa siloke 1400 uchiwenga wafika wahamba wabamba izandla so igqokisa phone izandla eziqonga umgabeleza wayiza zo lo mdende egqoke khona udayiki wafika wathi akula ma-dissident la and abantu abasebushi lapha ngamasource I'm going to deal with them phumani li madoda kwachaka abantu nje wabona nguye uthiwa ngumaroba phasi kodwa umkhalato bengumkhala labo nunkwa nabana begwanda lapha ngoro yami uyazi kwachaka abantu bethelwa mdlalo sase siphuma sala sakabasala anisase singazagezi asesule 6 months singagezi salahlelwa lapha eSt Patrick elokishini lapha then eyinto eyangiyisibindi esibuhlungu hayi ukuthi ucele wayengaboni ukwenzakala nje ukucela sasifika simthathe ucela sasimthatha nje unaka abantu umntaka sifa sicela ngiyacela yasitoka kulo polisa special branch okuthiwa ngundlovu umbolandi ubotsha ko-Bertrand yabona u-Bertrand bebotsha lapha nje imkondo lapha izaphi ihambi yemkhuphe esitokisini wayebegotshwa 18 years ukuze lapha uconjwa uPhilip Conjwa izapita imkhumbule imtete abesezebo phathi namagorelo ezipho mina wayembuphe endaweni enqala kade ngawule situlo esitafula ethi avale so athi nganti wa train gerela ofe ngifuna uficaficacile akunje ezacacana bona but unfortunately umna wakhe wayethethe udadewethu sefela ngudadewabo sengihamba khona wale idlala emakhandeni sabona nje angikhangele sowakhande eceleni one day sihleze ebhasi embuhlabeni ngaphela ngahlala phansi ngathi ndlovu yazi into ayekwangenza wona ubuhlungu kakhulu wathi ngathi kuyenza ukuthi uzunchayisa lokusumbula
mina ngo-Atwell Sibanda ngiphume ekhezi kodwa ngihlala ephumula. I've been an activist probably since number 98 kusiza ngapha from my days at NCA. But masikhuluma ngalokho esikulandela lapha ngibona ukuthi i-torture mina ngayiqalisa ngivele nzalo ngoba ngaza ngesikhathi sempi kugijinywa lami ngihamba ngigijinyiswa ngawazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. Wathi ngo-1980 ubaba elipolice eDannington wathi ziye emsebenzini ekuseni kwathiwa Sibanda have been transferred with immediate effect wahanjiswa eHarare ngoba abantu basebebaleka ekhaya bezocasha kuye eRose Camp la. So isikhathi esiningi ngiyayithi ngivumelane la nto iGround started well before 1983. Ngihambe eHarare ngale ngafika futhi ngathwala nzima kuthiwa yomwana emdistant ngibhanishwe esikolo ngingakwazi ukuthi distant uyini. So khona I think it raised awareness ukuthi i-society engiphila kiyo is unjust. Ngo-98 I got involved in the National Constitutional Assembly going towards the formation of MTC. Yikho lapho ke engabona khona okwabona abadala. Ngoba hayi lami sengike ngabanjwa. Uboshela into ongayaziyo. Uyehlale e-Central Police 2 days without food. Uchaywe. Kodwa nguthabela ukuthi abanye bakhona babesichaya ngibona ukuthi asoze emqambe ngebizo. Kodwa ngimbone se-active kuma lokuze ku-politics e-MTC and ngambone se-active futhi ngaphi ku-CCC wazivumela ukuthi ubuhlukuluze sasikwenza amajaha lawa kwasinika imbuzo ukuthi kade vele senzani why bele resilience enje in the face of what is happening. So i-torture is not really ukuthi uvalelwe kakhulu. I-torture engayibonayo ngokuthi uthi uhlezi ngikhaya ungezwe imoto iduma usufuna ukweqa amajura ngoba iMahindra isiko uzothumba abantu. Akhumbula isikhathi kule Mahindra lezana zithatha abantu. So ama-incidents of torture that I went through or some of us went through maningi ukuthi ngeke ngikuchronically in just one day. But okubuhlungu futhi okunye i-torture yangikhona yayisenziwa ngabantu engithi ngabakithi. Abanye ababeyizipra abanye bekuzapho lawo okuthiwa ama-veterans. Angisho ukuthi lonke linjalo. But kukhona isection yabanye abantu eyayisihlukuluza. Ngizabala mina umzala wami besikhuluma ngaye badala sibuya la uNgweni. He was a commando sometime. He went to the extent of telling my father to fire me from home because I'm an MTC activist, or I was an activist in MTC angithi. Ngazothi sisematope ekhezi lapha ngo-2008 I underwent futhi i-torture kaManuqondi ngomunye wabhabhathizwayo ekuseni nxa abanye bekwazi ekhezi kuthiwa usenjatami newazi enjatami othiwa kutsha operation uvotele ngoJuni uvuke ebhabhathizwa uthi uvuma izono zakho ngibhabhathizwa abantu bakithi abantu abathi balwela inkululeko yami beyiba bathi ngivuma izono zami nje ngivotele i-MTC ngikhampeyinele i-MTC bangihambise emanzini ngoJuni ekuseni uqanda. Not only mina but lezakhamizi. Njalo enye i-torture that we have gone through esingakhulumi ngayo i-mental torture what we have seen sibangaka. I remember namhla 27 June I was one of the people abahamba Lotho, Love More, and a few others. The first incident eMorewa le ochiselwe khona umntwana endlini. And it torture na leyo no one is really talking about it. Sihamba siyadobha izidumbu zamajaha amanye we-MDC ayebulewe. Akhumbula uBetha Charurama ubani bani. I-state ababekizo ngazo sokubolile abanye betshisiwe is traumatic. It comes back into mind kwesinye isikhathi ukhuluma ukuthi uyakuvusilwa, all those things. Angifuni ukuchitha isikhathi ngoba i-torture mbonathi is the same from the pre-independence, post-independence and post-laws and MDC era angithi mbonathi kulokho kufana ama-arbitrary arrests, amgijinyisa uhlala ubaleka nkayi uhlala unyemukula kuphela, but i-torture will always remain the same regardless of ukuthi yenziwa ngamakhiwa, but ebuhlungu kakhulu ngeyenziwa ngumuntu omnyama esenza komunye umuntu omnyama, njalo wenziwa umuntu wesindebeleni ekwenza komunye umuntu wesindebeleni. Ngima lapho ngingachithi isikhathi.
Having dealt with these issues over years, what I find quite interesting or scary ukuthi abantu ababa ama-victims ngabo 1978 or during the war, some of them became perpetrators ngesikhathi sekukurahundi, and people who were victims ngesikhathi sekukurahundi baba ngama-perpetrators ngabo 2008, and even abantu ababa ngama-victims ngesikhathi se-2000 baba ngama-perpetrators as late as 2015 when they were internal. It can be a perpetrator within MDC itself or within ZANU itself. So the cycle of so there's a chance to go up next year. So we seem not to learn because Tina very solution here today. I want to have a courage. Let's have the last speaker on.
Khulele eluveve kwabana abezinhlale esizini njengoba ethilo okasibanda ubana namhlanje sikhuluma ngendaba lezi ezethorture. I-torture ikanenge lami yakhumbula sesengifana nje umncane abantu ebuhlungu njengobana ubone umuntu ngoba wonke umntwana thinks that ubaba is the ultimate. Akula nto ehlula ubaba, akula nto ehlula ubaba. But as a young person, when you grow, when you balega, you catch up on better because so controllozelwe or so sport as a sport is announced to say controlling in down. To see your father as I'm putting and being a whining or something like that, it's so inventive. I'm very involved with the Lizzo, I mean, Scalisa soul in MDC. After my election in 2000, unfortunately, we have some elders you were veteran the CSR. It was feared. You knew you were veteran the so to be set against your own because we had brothers that we fought the war. I was involved in an action that was termed first mass action. Ngaleso sikhathi bengikhokhelwa ontanga ngobulawa. Wenziwa ama-actions ayesenziwa, blockading ama-roads, doing quite a lot of things. Ngaleso sikhathi that were termed illegal. I was arrested after the action. And into yobuhlungu ukuthi abakubophe mina defender ayibuya kusese Santana then ayibe kuseni ngabo 2 and nxa usithathwa laphana uthathwa ebusuku nobody knows ukuthi usiwa izaqala imoto engcane iyenjube ingcane yabe selibhodiwe laphikwa laba abaningi yafika drop abanye enjube hambe drop abanye. I remember my first time ngavalelwa eNtumbane. Do you know the fear? You don't know what will happen the next day. Uwedo is toxin. You have no one to talk to. You know what the organization is trying all means, but there's no communication. They don't know where you are. Probably the family has reported what to figure out, but we ain't happy, nobody knows. You are not given food for quite some time, maybe a day or two. Then the constant appearances ezokuya ecourt. Sazoyenza futhi another action eka 2003, the final push. I was also in the thick of things. Ngadingwa ke lapho sithi a high and low, because lapho sasizinto zakoma planted ama-spikes, and I know quite a lot of government vehicles were damaged, including army trucks. So sadingwa laphana to even langikhaya wasahlale to move hlale laphana, but you know, you don't know ukuthi vele society lokuthengisa, because even no matter ucatshe njani you find ukuthi bazawuvumbulula. So we to run away South Africa. I remember I ran away to South Africa in 2003, but ngasala ndingwa still wakungazokuthethwa inkokheli ezazikhokheli bandla. I remember sengifonelwa somile ngiphenduke sebebethethe uba uSibani, uba uGibson, besithi nguyomfihlileyo. I was whisked very quickly in South Africa so that bemrelease. Ngazobotshwa ngahlala eKami, ngihambe ecourt. I denied bail. I think I stayed in Kami for about 3 months. All those things is part of torture. 2007, since I'm at peace matches, Gugulawo Gift Standard, we were part of the guys who were also in the leadership. Like was ngadingakala futhi, and I had to run away again. That time, kumdume Santana usiuzwa even ungayibonanga ngase ngiyazi le Santana le siphuthi, and the moment isimeke edini akusela nto osuzayenza. So all those things ziyahlala embedded in your mind. And at that time, 2007, when I had gone to South Africa, unfortunately I left my mother sick, and then after about 3 weeks I told ukuthi she has passed on. I tried to come back, but my father told me, don't come. So you know, learning, it's also part of the torture on your own. You are not able to be part of the family during that particular time. So it torture but psychologically you have taken in the mid-dead of the night, and I remember there was one time, I think that was the final push. I was taken by 3 guys. Ebusu befunti bebe was who was responsible as a spikes or we company who was involved, who was funding and things like that. Sahambe West Park. Those guys were very poor. Figured they wanted life. Just like you. So you will join them. I was telling you, and it's only felt by you. You can only remember it, but only torture that you went through.
Isikhathi eziningi siyaziqinisa ngiyizwa abantu kwesinsikhathi nxa kulento ezenzakala kuma WhatsApp lapha ukuthi mina bangangenzani vele bese ngithi nxa usuwedwa siqondane labo abantu bakhona awuyiphela usitshela ukuthi uhambe njani, but we all know what we've gone through, and we all know ukuthi kuyabe kunjani, and those effects akula muntu ake ubezobuza ukuthi uzwa njani ngithi, and akula muntu who kwesinsikhathi abantu very feminine, they don't understand why you are so angry, why you behave. I know we told you these things. Kwesinsikhathi abantu behluleka even ukuhlala nonkosikazi ngenxa yolanga ababelalo. Abantu efamily bayibona ngani yahlala, but it is those effects, and ezimbabwe lapha ngikwazi uncedo akuphi government ayincede, abakwazi impela ukungcoba abantu bezandla and all this kind of